Hey folks, welcome back. So it's time to show off some more stuff I got from Free League. This wasn't from Free League themselves actually, this was from the UK-based store Dungeonland, which I highly recommend by the way. They had sent out a notice recently that for all buyers in the UK, Free League was going to start adding VAT to the prices of their box sets and some other stuff, which would mean that prices are going to go up by, £4 to £5 for a lot of items. So they recommended that whatever was currently in stock that you wanted, that you should swipe it up before the price increase. So I went ahead and did that. So I actually still have some stuff coming from the Free League summer sale, so we'll see that when it comes. But Dungeonland has sent me this stuff, which just arrived today. And so we've got the two remaining box sets for Alien, Heart of Darkness and Destroyer of Worlds, which together form a trilogy with the starter set. It's all one kind of continuous story in a way. And then we have the Things from the Flood role-playing game, including GM screen and pack of dice. This is essentially a sort of more adult kind of follow-on from the Tales from the Loop role-playing game, also for Free League, of course, both based on these wonderful books of illustrations by an artist whose name I forget, but I'm sure will be on the back of the book. So I just want to quickly show off what I picked up today, not in a huge amount of detail. We'll go smallest to largest as usual. So first we'll take a look at the dice. You'll notice that they're all D6s like in the other Year Zero system-based games, but they are basically just normal D6s. There are no alternate colors like you have in Alien or in the upcoming Walking Dead universe role-playing game, which is coming out, I think, in September for print, which use stress dice, because those games were based around horror, whereas games like Vaesen, Things from the Flood, etc., they have horror elements, but it's more about investigation, so they chose a different tack rather than constantly ratcheting tension. There are other ways for your character to suffer, and that's a key difference in this game, actually, as compared to Tales from the Loop, because in Things from the Flood, you play teenagers. In Tales from the Loop, you play kids between the ages of 10 to 15. They can get injured, certainly. They can be psychically or physically broken and need to go back home and heal up and stuff, but they never actually die, because having kids die in a game is gross. But in Things from the Flood, you're playing teenagers, 16 and up. They're getting themselves into bigger trouble, and they can actually get severely injured, leaving scars, or they can actually die. So the stakes are raised. So my idea, such as it is to introduce my players via the Tales from the Loop box to this kind of world of mysterious things happening around the Mallorca Islands in Sweden, and then this kind of alternate 80s setting that never was. Then I've got all the different books of mysteries that they put out coming for that game system. So we'll go through all that stuff, and the players will sort of gradually gain experience of dealing with mysteries and the system and getting older and so on, and then we'll switch up the stakes with Things from the Flood. That's my plan. So you can see the dice look great as usual, nicely engraved. They have a little circle around each of the numbers, and then the 6 especially marked with this symbol, just to remind you that this is in fact a success. And just like the other Year Zero games, anytime you roll a 6, that counts as a success. And typically for any roll, you'll be testing an attribute plus a skill. You'll add those numbers together. Say you have a 5 in, athletics or whatever, and then you have a 1 skill rank in a relevant skill to the task. You'll roll 6 dice, and we have 1 success. So if it was a difficulty 1 task, we'd be fine. Of course, really hard things could be requiring 2 or even 3 successes, but those are relatively rare. So that's the basic of the system. You do that for basically everything. So you can pick it up in 5 minutes. And character creation for these games is also really fun. Often you kind of build up like backstories through your character creation for how your characters know each other. They make you come up with people that are anchors in your lives, people that you really rely on, who can help you recover from stressful situations. So, there's a lot of detail hidden behind what is a relatively simple facade. Next, we'll look at the Game Master screen, which is just a screen, I think. There's no other contents in this. It's a deluxe GM screen for Things from the Flood role-playing game, made of 3 sections of 3mm thick hardback, measuring a mighty 855 by 216 millimeters when unfolded. The outside features beautiful full-color artwork by Simon Stalenhag, and the inside contains charts and tables for easy reference during play. Or maybe that's Stolenhag. Well, maybe that's too Norwegian. I'm not sure. Please, any Swedish viewers, correct me on the correct pronunciation. I've been to Norway a number of times, but I've never been to Sweden, so that may alter the way I view some of these things. Anyway, we'll take a look at this. And the artwork is, in fact, very lovely, as you shall see in a moment. So we've got a landscape format, a teenager there with their backpack on the beautiful snow-covered landscape. And as we fold out to the second panel, We've got some of these mysterious gravitonic machines broken down, laying out in the snow for God knows what reason. And here we have an especially big and intimidating one on the third panel with one brave youngster actually climbing it, maybe to salvage some bits from it or try to figure out what it's for. So very thematic. You can see lovely little cute houses in the background. You know, these winter foresty scenes that remind one of the countryside of Scandinavia. So absolutely beautiful artwork as well throughout the books, as you'll see. On the GM screen itself, we have, this is pretty cool. So how to set up a mystery. So the types of scenes that you'll have, working in teen problems based on the characters' problems and shames that they created during character creation. What should happen at locations, so could contain clues, possible trouble, or definite trouble, which will require roles to deal with. Clues could be things like where to go, what's happened, who's involved, where to find information, how to solve the problem, how to handle a machine or creature, etc. And then each teen can use an aftermath scene to leave, but if she died or disappeared suddenly, the aftermath becomes a group shared scene. So you might be leaving the individual as they die in hospital, or their family moves to get a fresh start, and there'll be an in memoriam from the group. So you have a sort of in-character memorial service, which is pretty hardcore. So death can happen in this game, but it's a really big deal. Facing a cruel world is the next section, so teens can become hurt, scarred, and even killed by the ordeals of life. So you can get conditions when failing a roll or pushing a roll. So you can be upset, scared, exhausted, or injured, and you get -1 modifiers for that. If you're broken, you get a scar and have an automatic failure on all rolls. To recover conditions, 2 or more teens together can recover conditions with your anchor, the person who you go to when you need help the most. You can recover all conditions. And if someone has the lead skill and they're in a scene with another teen, they can help them recover 1 or more conditions. Getting a scar, you describe what happened or how you were physically or mentally scarred your teen is by the ordeals. So that might include, if you were shot by a burglar, you had a scar in your right thigh after a gunshot wound, bad limp, or I'm terrified of guns and can't sleep alone if you have a mental effect. Surviving a scar, roll equal to or above the total amount of scars to survive. So as you accumulate more scars, it gets harder for you to survive. Failing the roll means the teen will be removed from play. Choose how and when. It could be a brutal injury, mental breakdown, sudden disappearance. It could happen immediately or during the aftermath of the mystery. A teen may accept a scar to boost a skill roll. Accepted scars may then be removed at the end of the mystery. So you could have a temporary kind of mental breakdown to help you get through a situation, but at the end of the mystery, that'll go away. Then we have the basics of rolling dice. So you pick attribute plus skill. That's the default number of dice to roll. Unless you're broken, a teen may always roll at least 1 die, even if you have negatives from conditions. Then you add your bonuses. So if you're using an item, you can add +1 to +3. Iconic items are +2. You get +1 if you get help from another teen. Help from the lead skill will get plus dice assigned from the dice pool. Help from a bonus effect will be +1 when a previous roll provides information or help. And then roll 6 is equal to the difficulty, which are 1, 2, and 3. Then you can adjust the roll. So if you push the roll, you re-roll all failed dice. Those are not 6s. And the teen must take a condition, and they can only do that once per roll. They can use shame to get automatic success or 1 extra success. May be used after a successful, failed, or any pushed roll, and only once per mystery. Or you can accept a scar, which we went through before. An automatic success or 1 extra success can be used after any roll and used only once per scar. If you are successful, so you meet the difficulty in terms of number of successes. If you get extra successes, you can buy bonus effects. You can get more than what you asked for, basically. If something went bad, you can get a condition, you can get escalated trouble, you can suffer a complication, or you can get even more trouble added to the situation. You can also have teen versus teen. So these are kind of opposed roles. The teen with the most successes wins. If there's no winner, then each teen may each check conditions. Each condition checked gives an extra success. If it's still a tie, something interrupts the situation. Then you can have extended trouble. So the teens might have to confront a climactic trouble. The GM will decide the threat level. The teens will make a plan. The teens will play out how they think their plan will work. And then after all the scenes are over, you'll compare all the total successes against the overall threat level to see if you get through the climactic threat. That's pretty cool. So you really need teamwork to get through these big climactic threats that can appear. Then they have a summary of attributes, skills, and bonus effects. So under body, you have skills like sneak, force, and move. Under tech, you have tinker, program, and calculate. And then it gives you a little bit more detail about how to build things using tinker or program. Then under heart attribute, you have the contact, charm, and lead skills. And under mind, you have investigate, comprehend, and empathize. And all of these, it gives you examples about some bonus effects if you get extra successes that you could give to the player involved. So all in all, a really nice summary of stuff that helps the GM not only to kind of know what's going to happen after each dice roll, but to construct mysteries, think about the narrative effects of injuries, scars, deaths, all kinds of things. So really, really cool. And it shows what the game is really all about. I mean, it's about what you see here, a gang of teens, maybe from very mixed backgrounds, maybe different family situations, different troubles at home, at school, coming together to try to do something that, they can't rely on the adults to do for them. And we have 3 extremely scary-looking things here. I don't know what that is. It's a lovely, thick book. I don't think the actual length is very long, but, with Free League, the book isn't very long. They compensate by having extremely high-quality paper and everything else. So, key features, we dive deeper into the secrets of the loop and experience the 2 game settings updated to the 1990s. The Malaren Islands in Sweden and Boulder City, Nevada in the USA. New rules for Scars and Death, which we've seen on the GM screen. Investigate mysteries and overcome trouble using fast and effective rules based on the award-winning Year Zero game engine. And play 4 complete scenarios included, tied together into a campaign called Prophets of Pandora. Oh, cool. So there's a whole campaign in here as well. That's excellent. Yeah, so in the end papers, we have a map of the loop. So this is in the Swedish zone. So I guess things might have evolved since Tales from the Loop, but I don't have that next to me to make a comparison. On the other end papers, of course, we have the Boulder City version. So you can play either in a US-based setting or a Sweden-based setting. I personally think if you're going to play a Swedish game, play it in Sweden. That seems more fun to me. And I love Scandinavia. So TOC, we've got Life After the Flood. So we have the basic principles of the game. We have information about how the setting's been updated to the 90s in Chapter 2. We have something in the Hoover Dam disaster. Okay, so I guess that's about the U.S. loop. Then we have the teen, so that's character generation. Then we have trouble, so how you deal with conditions, fights, failing rolls, pushing rolls, fighting with other teens, the extended trouble that we saw on the GM screen, and then all your different skills and how you use them. Then how you construct different types of mysteries, including longer mysteries, advanced techniques, that's interesting, and horror, very cool. Chapter 7, we have the mystery landscape, so they view this game as a collaborative storytelling effort, and I would agree with that. Then we have Prophets of Pandora, so this is the campaign with, 4 chapters. So we have Of Flesh and Steel, The Ugliness, Traveler, and Ash to Eternity. I'm not going to go into detail here, we'll just quickly flick through, look at some beautiful artwork. Very evocative. It's this, again, fantastical past that never really happened. So the idea is that, these magnetrine flying technologies and robots and things were developed way back since the 50s. And these big particle accelerators called loops, there's one in the US and one in Sweden. They seem to be responsible for some strange reactions and activities and creatures and things. So as a result, they were pulled offline, but they have left lingering after effects, including lots of random machines trashed about the place, and problems that they impacted on the workers, as far as mentally, physically. The loop was not a nice place to work. Then we have, lots of background info here. So this, I guess, will be the background of what happened in the setting in Boulder City. And the previous chapter was about what happened in the islands. Now we have our teens. So you've got different types, and the character creation is pretty simple as far as generating the numbers and so forth. It's related to your age between 14 and 19. Then you can pick an iconic item, a problem, a drive, and a shame, and you define your relationships to the other teens, define your relationship to 1 or 2 NPCs, choose an anchor, choose 1 or 2 hooks. So these are reasons why you go out and go on these adventures in the first place. So it's really about, drawing a picture of this young person and who they are, what they're ashamed of, what they're worried about, what they use to anchor them back to reality, who are the people they rely on. So it really is focused on narratives and relationships. We got new character types. So we got hacker, we got jocks, carrying a hockey, is that a hockey stick? Maybe, yeah. We've got the lone wolf, cool. We got the motorhead. So I guess they are super into vehicles. Got the party animal. We got the raver. Yeah, none of these are in Tales from the Loop. I can say that. The rocker. We do have that one. Seeker. That's a new one. We got the snob. That's cool. Yeah, she definitely looks like that, like a snob. Got the street kid. Right. They can choose a butterfly knife, lockpick, cigarettes, and a lighter. That's cool. And then we go into the attributes, problems, drives, and shames, relationships, Hooks or anchors, scars and death, different ways of death, and then using experience points. So you can spend 5 XP to raise a skill 1 level, and 5 is the maximum level in any skill. But there's more about that in another chapter. Then there can be friction between the teams as well. So it talks about, how does that affect the group? How do you resolve it? And then there's trouble, which is problems that face the group as a whole. And wow, this artwork is really fantastic. I love it. These giant slug things, and this poor tiny car trying to squeeze between them doesn't look like a whole lot of fun. Yeah, and lots of scary beasties in this, so I can see why they've chosen things from the Flood as kind of the darker of the two games. Definitely the artwork, because the names of the game actually, I believe, match the names of the original art books that were created by Simon Stolenhag. So yeah, they've expanded these into full-on worlds that you can play in, and they've gone and made the darker of the two art books the darker of the two games, which I think makes quite enough sense. Then we get into collaborative storytelling, the mystery landscape, campaign play, all kinds of useful tips for putting a campaign together. The Signs of Love, okay. Connections to robots and Ragnarok, interesting. So yeah, I think this is where we get now into the 4-part campaign, which is a good half of the book almost. We've got maps, we've got NPCs to deal with, clearly conflicts, interesting relationships. As usual, the book, the paper quality is exemplary, the binding is excellent. I've got a lovely character sheet here for the teens, so we can see that attributes and skill ranks and experience and conditions are all down the left side. Scars, items, notes, relationships, and sort of personal details are mostly in blue, and the red is kind of the more mechanical stuff. So it's nice to kind of use the color to help you kind of visually differentiate what information you need at a glance. But yeah, beautiful 215-page book, definitely a step up in seriousness from Tales from the Loop, so I'm looking forward to eventually getting to that now. So we've got 2 Alien box sets. These are cinematic adventures, so that you can play these one-shots. They were all written by Andrew E.C. Gaska, including the starter set. So the adventures are really high quality and really dig into the lore of the Alien universe, because Andrew E.C. Gaska has written a number of novels based in the Alien universe, so he pretty much knows what he's doing. Now, I believe Destroyer of Worlds is the second in the sequence, so we'll look at that one first. I will try to open this without too much hassle, but Free League does like to pack their things extremely well. You notice this box set is substantially thinner than the starter set. I think because they'll assume that you'll have all the cards and dice and bits that you need by this point if you're getting into the second box set, which makes sense. We'll look at the back and see what we get. Complete cinematic scenario for the Alien role-playing game, written by sci-fi novelist Andrew E.C. Gaska. Here you take on colonial marines, and I have the book for that coming as well. Scenario is designed for 3 to 5 players, plus a game mother, and is a gauntlet of one hell after another. Expected to take at least 3 sessions to complete. So we get a scenario book, a huge double-sided map with a colony on one side and the Fort Nebraska Space Elevator ground base on the other, 7 pre-gens, custom cards for weapons, vehicles, and personal agendas, and player maps and handouts. And it does say you need the core rulebook or the starter set to play this. So this is not standalone, just keep that in mind. We've got some desiccation things, don't eat those, you know how that works. We have personal agenda cards. Now these I know are going to be hard to open up. And then we have story cards. Okay, so it looks like... Okay, so we have some personal agendas and some... This is a weapon card, so I guess they're all kind of mixed together. We'll look at the other stuff first. Got the usual Free League Games catalog. We have a lovely big fat map here. The paper is just so lovely, so high quality. Unfortunately, I'll be able to show you only a bit at a time. So this is Fort Nebraska, ammunition depot and weapons testing facility. We have the control, personnel, and cargo areas here. Up top we have, I guess, this is the main part of the facility. See there's fuel storage, various kinds of vehicles, perhaps. Then if I flip it over, we have the fusion reactor down below, the North Bastion level. 01 and North Bastion level 02. On the flip side, oh boy, we have a map of the overall colony. So this is Fort Nebraska, kind of in a zoomed out view. So this is where the bottom of the space elevator is, I think. That's, if I'm not wrong about that. Or could be the other way around, who knows. Then we have a lovely map of the whole area of Ariarchus, a United Americas colony. It has key locations marked out like oil refineries and stuff, which presumably, and medical facilities, definitely will need those. Oblivion Bar, definitely need that. Once again, I mean, these maps are a cut above what you get in pretty much any other game manufacturer. I mean, they're just lovely and thick and feel so solid. Then we got a big stack of pre-gens. So we got Dante Private First Class with skills focused on strength and agility, close combat, heavy machinery, range combat 4. Has an RPG launcher, pulse rifle, cutting torch, service pistol, combat knife, M3 personnel armor with tactical cam and comm unit, web gear. Has a lot of combat stuff. She's got the talents of banter and weapon specialist. So choose one of the weapons, and when you use that, you get a +2 modification. Wow. You can choose this talent several times, once per weapon type. You can also be a specialist at fighting unarmed. Very cool. And as usual, on the back of the pre-gens, we have the complete character sheet all marked up, so we can see how it looks in practice. Look at that grenade launcher with a blast of 9. That's hardcore. And just a ton of gear. So as Colonial Marines, you have a lot of gear, but that also means more aliens. Hooray. Then we have Hammer, who's a private. His personality is psychotic. Okay. He's got strength 5, agility 5, skills close combat 4, range combat 4, stamina 3. So he's pretty tough. He's got 4 X-Stim syringes. He has to take them regularly or stress level increases by 1. Cannot relieve stress without consuming the drug. Ooh. His talents are menacing, so he's physically scary, and overkill. Instead of panicking, you turn your fear into aggression and use it as a weapon against the enemy. You can trigger the overkill effect when you make a panic roll. Cool. And then we have his character sheet all done up. We can see his attributes, main stats. Yeah, we got smart guns, we got grenades, pistols, and combat knife. Very cool. I'll try and keep these in some sort of order here. Then we have Mason, a gunnery sergeant, strength 4, agility 4, main stats. She's got a wider range of stuff, so close combat 2, range combat 3, stamina 2, medical aid 2. She can do a little bit more, kind of jack of all trades, but she's not super good at anything in particular. But she's got nerves of steel, so -2 modification to all panic rolls. And she has overkill, much like our gunnery sergeant, or previous guy there. And then we've got, again, a pulse rifle, grenade launcher, service pistol, and an incinerator unit, so she can do some flame throwing. It's pretty badass. We've got a warrant officer. He's got strength 6. Wow, agility 6. Heavy machinery 2, comtech 4, piloting 2, medical aid 4. Okay. So he is got the talents of bodyguard. You can dive in to take the hit for somebody else. It doesn't count as an action. If you roll 1 or more successes, you take the hit instead, and you can push the roll. Cool. Also has a field surgeon talent, so you get a +2 modification to medical aid when treating someone who's about to die from a critical injury. Well, that is very useful. And there we can see his stats. Wow, 6 in strength and agility is massive, but he's paid for that in terms of having relatively less skills, I guess, and not a lot of gear. Then we have Silva, the captain, close combat 2, manipulation 2, command 3, range combat 3. So command ability, I think, will be useful here. She can use field command to give orders in combat as a fast action, so you can give orders twice in the same round. When the going gets tough, get going, so pass the limit. You can push any skill roll based on strength twice, not just once like other characters. Each push increases your stress level by 1. Okay. And we can see she's got a pulse rifle, grenade launcher, stroke pistol, and a combat knife. Decent stats as well. But again, she's more of a jack of all trades than some of the others, but having that lead or command ability is definitely very useful for Colonial Marines. We've got a sergeant, Iona, so strength 4, agility 3, empathy 4. Okay, so more empathetic, more a feeling type. Has talent of banter, which allows you to release attention in your team with friendly banter. Your stress level and the stress level of everyone in short range of you drops 2 steps instead of 1 for every turn spent in a safe place. cool. And he has passed the limit like our captain there. And yeah, mostly focused on range combat and stamina, with a lesser focus in close combat and piloting. Then we have his stats all written out here. I mean, these are some pretty heavily armed people compared to the truckers you get in the starter set, as you can see. Now we have Private First Class, assigned to the mission support team. Rifleman first and vehicle operator second. Okay, so he's got skills in, well, he's got strength 4, agility 5, wits 3, empathy 2. Nice spread there. Close combat 3, mobility 1, observation 2, piloting 1, range combat 3. Survival 2. That's the first time we've seen survival, I think. So good for scrabbling for bits and bobs when you're desperate, I suppose. He has the talents of hard hitter. Get a +2 modification to close combat if you sacrifice your fast action. But you're a hothead. You get a +2 modification to opposed rolls for manipulation whenever someone tries to give you orders. This talent can also be used to resist the officer's career talent pull rank. Cool. Alright, so a lot of pre-gens there. Then we have some smaller area maps. These are player maps. These unfold as well. So we have Marshall Station in Ariarchus District East. Yep. So I guess that must be some kind of police station type thing. Then we have the Eye of Oblivion. This is the bar that we saw on the larger map. On the flip side, we have the oil refinery in the North District, which we also saw on the bigger map, and the San Rocco Medical Facility. So if you really get messed up, this is where you'll end up. And I expect more than one player will end up there at some point. We also have an insurgent compound in the West District. That's interesting. I have no idea what the story is for this. So, outbreak on Forestation. Okay, we'll keep away from that for spoiler reasons. Then we have Fort Nebraska Ammunition Depot and Weapons Testing Facility. So this is the player version of that map. And we can see there's some elevators, various checkpoints to get through. There's a med lab and some cold storage areas. Excellent. Then we have the campaign book. Well, scenario book, I suppose, since it's a cinematic scenario. You can see it's nice and big and juicy. We'll just have a quick flick through. So yeah, we'll look at the scenario overview. So yeah, it's basically in 3 acts. The PCs assume the role of a ragtag colonial marine squad assembled on an oil-rich moon who are about to break out in rebellion. Their goal, hunt down 4 fugitives, rogue marines who are defecting to the Union of Progressive Peoples, UPP, with stolen classified intelligence. Operating out of the moon's military base, the PCs are sent out into a hotbed of disgruntled wildcatters and insurgents. The clock is ticking. The UPP is invading the sector of space, and the military will not evacuate the colony until the threat is neutralized. Okay. I assume from the cover that there will be aliens and xenomorphs involved at some point, but, you know, I won't speculate. Let's see, there's some NPCs popping up. Locations, we saw on the map. Yeah, I mean, Andrew Gaska is very good at putting together these scenarios, so I'm very excited. Obviously, I'm going to take my players through the starter scenario first, and the starter set, and go through in the correct order, so they get a nice build-up of events. Oh yeah, there's some xenomorphs. Okay. Yeah. I mean, the game is called Alien, so you're going to have aliens in it, right? Alright, so, try to put this stuff back the way I found it. We've got, 7 pre-gens. That's quite a bit. It's nice to have that variety of choice. And these games can, people can die really quickly in Alien. So I think it's nice to have the ability to sort of turn around and have another go with a different build if you want to. I'm going to see how difficult it is to open these cards. And if it's not too impossible like it normally is for Free League stuff, then I will show them to you briefly, because there will be obviously new equipment cards that we didn't get in the starter set. Alright, there we go. That wasn't too bad. As usual, the cards are lovely Free League level quality. Nothing less than I would expect from them. So we got some personal agenda cards, which I will keep secret for any potential players. Then we have some NPCs. Devodovich, Eckford, Botos, Jail, Myers, Reese. Looks like he should be in Metal Gear Solid or something. Wright, Cavallo, Wojcik. And then we've got a multi-purpose vehicle with its stats on the flip side, although it's kind of upside down. Gatling gun turrets and phased plasma pulse cannon turret. Wow. Intense. Then we have a drop ship. So I presume we'll be using that to drop the Colonial Marines onto the moon. Got Gatling guns, air-to-air missiles, anti-personnel missiles, and wing-mounted heavy anti-tank missiles. Yikes. Alright, then we have a Ridgeway heavy tank, which looks awesome, by the way. We have rifled cannon, 60mm mortar, phase plasma point defense gun. Cool. Tactical dropship, VTOL, so it's vertical takeoff. It's got a Gatling gun, rocket launcher, 7X Hellhound 2 tactical missiles, and 3X Headlock air-to-air missiles. Then we have an armored personnel carrier, which I believe we saw in Aliens, actually. Top speed 150 kilometers an hour. Wow. Phase plasma pulse cannon, 20mm Gatling gun turret, so relatively lightly armed compared to the others. Then we have an 8x8 tractor, which is not armed. So this is just to haul things around. Then we have some personal weapons, the RPG launcher, and the pulse assault rifle. Cool. Now, I'm not sure what will be going on with these other cards. It seemed like they're kind of a mixture of stuff. Oh, that opened nice and easy. Beautiful. Alright. So we have some story cards, which again I won't spoil for you. And also my players might watch this. More personal agendas, which there are a lot of, because they change from act to act, depending on the character. And yeah, so I can't show you any of that. Alright, good way to spend my time. What I'm going to do is actually put those agenda cards with those. And hopefully the box will still close nicely. So yeah, very excited about that. You know, it brings in the Colonial Marines into the picture, exposes a bit more of the alien universe, the politics that drive it behind the scenes. You know, and I think it's going to be really exciting when, you know, whatever's going on in this nasty sort of invasion colonial scenario breaks out into open insurgency plus aliens. I mean, I can't imagine that's going to be, you know, particularly healthy for anyone involved, but it'll be great fun to play. Then finally we have Heart of Darkness. So this is, I believe, the last in the trilogy. Complete cinematic scenario. It is a standalone adventure, but also serves as a conclusion to the Draconis Strain saga begun in the cinematic scenario Chariot of the Gods and continued in Destroyer of Worlds. It's designed for 3 to 5 players plus the game mother and is a spiraling descent into soul-crushing madness. Excellent. Contains a scenario book, a huge double-sided map of the Erebos plasma trawling space station, 7 pre-gens, custom cards for weapons, secret messages, and personal agendas, and player maps and handouts. Once again, you need the core rulebook or the starter set to play this. So it is a standalone adventure, as they say, but not a standalone game. Note the key difference there. So we'll pop the plastic off this bad boy. I mean, as you can tell, I've become a huge devotee of Free League. I think their Year Zero system has proven so versatile, so easy to get a handle on. And now they've got this new version as well in Blade Runner, which I'm really excited to try, with the different dice that have different odds of successes and crits and so forth. So I think, I mean, they're still iterating it. They're still building on it. You know, they're not standing still and doing the same thing forever, which I love. I think they're a great company that's trying to do, you know, each game they want to really emulate the experience of the property that it's involved in or the type of atmosphere they're going for. So once again, we have the Free League Games catalog. We've got one big stack of cards this time. I'll save those again for later. And then we have the scenario book coming first this time, which is interesting. This is the big conclusion. So again, we'll just do a flip through, give you sort of a teaser. Oh, black hole, cool. So I think the environment here is getting pretty dangerous, as well as the things and or people that we met. Oh, there's a cat. And he has stats as well. I love it. I love when they have cats and dogs in games and they get a full character write-up. All right, so we seem to be doing some space station stuff. So that's always a bit scary. The confinement of the void all around you. Yeah, and once again, a fairly large and chunky adventure, as you can see. Very much looking forward to that. And good old Andrew's writing, I'm sure, will be more than up to the task. Then we have our big old stack of pre-gens here. Well, it looks like we have, how many? 1, 2, 3, 7. Yeah, 7 again. Wow, so we have Lark. So, oh, she's a synthetic psychologist. Full name, Dr. Lark. Age 10, but appears 40. Strength 5, Agility 4, Wits 5, Empathy 6. Okay, so she's really empathetic. She's great at observation, manipulation, Can do a bit of command and medical aid as well. Yeah, so she can use the command skill to reduce the stress level of one character within short range. For each success, their stress level is reduced by 1 extra step in addition to the default 1 step. But you can't use this on yourself. Can't counsel yourself. Then we can see your stats all written up. You do get some big numbers there for the synths. That's interesting. Then we have Ejiri, Executive Officer. He's got a Strength 2, Agility 3, Wits 5, Empathy 4. 5 in command, which is pretty huge, 3 in mobility, 2 in comtech, and 2 in observation. And he has the talent of calming presence. So once per turn, you may reduce the stress level of another character within short range by 1, in addition to the normal stress recovery. You and any character that hopes to benefit from your calming presence must be in a relatively safe place. So that may be down to a little bit of GM discretion, I suppose. And once again, we have their stats all written up on the other side. Now we're dealing more with normal folks and not brutal Marines, so there's a lot less weaponry to go around. Here we have a biochemical engineer, Professor Hector Navarre. He's got Strength 3, Agility 4, Wits 3, Empathy 4. So a little bit of close combat, a little bit of heavy machinery, pretty decent at range combat with 3 and manipulation 3, and observation at 2. His talent is analysis. You can roll for observation to gain insight regarding strange and alien artifacts or creatures that you encounter, and get a chance to study for at least 1 turn. For every success you roll, you get to ask the GM one of the questions below. Is it human or alien? What is its purpose? Is it dead or alive? How does it work? How old is it? What problems could it cause? The GM must answer truthfully, but is allowed to give vague or incomplete answers in order to avoid spoiling the scenario. A successful analyze roll also reduces the stress level of all other PCs within short range by 1, while a failed roll increases other PC stress levels by 1. So there's a pretty big payoff. You can get some really useful information from this. For every success, you get to ask a pretty important question, and you can reduce stress, but also if you fail, you'll make everybody more stressed out. So that's a pretty big balance factor there. Then we have Sajad. So, Close Protection Operative, Erebos Science Team, full name, Sergeant Noor Sajjad, Strength 4, Agility 5, Wits 4, Empathy 1. Okay, so she doesn't really care about other people at all. So she's kind of the security detail. She's got Close Combat 4, which is great, Range Combat 4, which is also great, and then a little bit in Observation and Mobility, but nothing to do with helping people out in any way. She has a dual-action shotgun, APE suit, and various other items, and she has Hard Hitter, so +2 modification to Close Combat if you sacrifice your fast action. So in face-to-face, she is really tough. Strength 4, Close Combat 4, plus Hard Hitter. It's pretty serious business. Yeah, and she's the only one so far, I think, with an actual weapon. The other 3 have no weapons whatsoever. So there's going to be a lot of running and screaming in this scenario, I think. Here we have Drabakowski, astrophysicist and computer scientist. Age 36. She has a Strength 3, Agility 4, Wits 5, Empathy 2. So she's very witty, very clever. But health is only 3. But she's Comtech 4 and Observation 4, which is really useful. We need to identify stuff or work technology. And she has 0G training, so she gets +2 to mobility rolls in 0G. Awesome. Then we have her stats over here on the bottom. She does have a pistol, so we got one other armed person. But it's only damage 1, range medium, so it's not great, I have to say. Then we have Hedenstrom. So he is a xenobiotechnologist from the Erebos Science Team, Whale Dutani. Full name, Professor Berger Hedenstrom, PhD. Personality, obsessive. Strength 3, Agility 4, Wits 5, Empathy 2. Another smarty. He's good at heavy machinery, decent at comtech, good at observation. Got a bit of survival and medical aid as well. Breakthrough is his talent. You've done it. Once per game session, you automatically pass an observation roll of your choice without needing to make the roll. In order to avoid spoiling the scenario, the GM has final say on whether or not this talent can be used for a particular role. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so he has a stabby knife with a range of engaged, no bonus, and damage of 2. So that's a pretty much last-minute desperation kind of deal. Then we have Luger. She's the captain of the ship, and she's got Strength 3, Agility 5, Wits 3, Empathy 3, Piloting 3, Heavy Machinery 3, Comtech 2, and Command 3. So she's definitely a leader type and good at flying, good at piloting machines in general. Her talent is Starship Mechanics, so she gets a +2 mod whenever you use Heavy Machinery or Comtech to repair damage to a spacecraft. Very cool. And there we go. We've got her stats all written up. And she does have an EVA pistol, so I guess that still fires in 0G and out in the vacuum, which is cool. And it gets a bonus +1, the 1 damage, so slightly better than the other pistol. Then we have some handouts here, which I'll just quickly flash past you, so you don't get spoiled. We got some reports here to hand out. Then we have a map of the USCSS Cronus Class D FTL lifeboat. Okay, we got a biochemical testing lab. We got cryosleep pods. We got showers and a head, observation room, biolab with med pods, portable water tankage, astrophysics lab and holotable, computer core and navigation. That's where you talk to Mother, I guess. There's another med pod, some food storage, and the main airlock. And then we've got a open gallery with conference hall and an open office here. So it really seems to be kind of science-oriented. And then we have the USCSS Katerina, model DG-23B Rorqual. So it's a commercial plasma harvester and tanker. Okay. So how these two ships work into the story together, I don't know. But it's got an FTL rating of 6, signature +1, so it's pretty big. Thrusters +2. Hull 9, armor rating 5, so it's a much bigger ship than the tiny lifeboat on the other side. It's got AI 1, air scrubbers 2, cargo bay 4x4 for plasma tankage, cryo deck 2, it's got galleries, med labs, it's got 4 orbital mines total, boosted displacement drives, and overpowered thrusters. And then we can see the main decks are marked. Here we've got the bridge at A, inner and outer deck cargo control and handling at B, Medbay, cryosleep gallery, and rec room at C. D is engineering forward intake monitoring station. And E is the FTL drive, plasma collection, and storage. Ooh. Alright, get those out of the way. And now we're going to have a enormous map of some kind. Oh god, I love their paper quality so much, but I wish it was a bit more easy to show you on the camera. I do apologize for that. So here's the front view of Erebus 01 Plasma Trawling Station. So we've got some key locations marked out on the legend here. So that's the front view. You can see go deck by deck here. So we've got cell blocks and a corrections office and an inmate infirmary. So there's a prison on board here. Then we have various terminals, I guess, for docking. Yeah, they're hangar decks and cargo bays, various airlocks and things. On the flip side, if I can manage to show you somehow. Here we have the top view of the station. So we've got ambient energy collectors, science station. The crew complement, by the way, is 12 administrators, 99 prisoners for labor, 12 corrections officers, 36 synths, and 1 cat. Yeah, and then we've got some more deck plans here for the other parts of the station, which I will just slowly ooze past the camera as much as I can here. Yep, this is not working out very well. I apologize for my camera being too close to the action here. So we have a residence level. Here we have an astrophysics lab and VIP bay. Then we've got the health and wellness center and the operations center. And deck A is the astrometric observatory. On the other side, of course, there's another side. Ooh, that's huge. So here we have the plasma trawling station in all of its glory, I suppose. Yeah, we've got the central hub. We've got a flux gate, plasma collector Maw 1, trolling arm 2, and plasma collector Maw 2. Then we have the lower decks and engineering control decks mapped out as well. Yeah. As usual, the maps are gorgeous, stunning. No complaints from me. I wish every box set came with maps this stunning. And they feel really, really solid. They're kind of laminated, nice and heavy. So you know that they will survive for a heck of a long time. Now we'll put all of our pre-gens and friends back into the box. And then we'll take a look at the cards. And then we are out of here, folks. Oh, and there's another silicate desiccant, which I will get rid of. Bye-bye. So we have one thicker deck of cards this time. We'll see what comes in this guy. Hopefully it will cooperate and open as easily as the other ones did. But Free League doesn't mess around with their packaging. It's part of the reason why everything arrives in perfect condition, so I can't complain. And that one was very easy to open, actually. So what do we got? Story cards, story card, story card. Not going to spoil, not going to spoil, not going to spoil. I will come back, by the way, and do my kind of reviews of these modules when I've actually run them. But I've got a whole plan for Alien, Tales from the Loop, and Things from the Flood. And it's going to be probably a long-term thing, so maybe a year or so before I come back with stuff in detail in terms of how to run the module, what I found good and bad, all that kind of stuff. So these are all pretty much stuff I can't show you until here. Then we have an EVA pressure pod, some kind of EVA vehicle. It does have some industrial lasers, but are low powered. Manipulator arms. We have a heavy incinerator unit, so it's a big old flamethrower. Damage 3, range long, bonus +1. Fire intensity 12. Yikes. Okay, then we have an electrostatic shotgun. Range 2, bonus +2, or no, damage 2, sorry, bonus +2. Range is short. It has a stun effect and armor piercing. Cool. And then electrostatic pistol. So this has bonus +1, damage 1, range medium, weight is only a half, so it's easy to carry. And that also has stun effect and armor piercing, so electrostatic weapons, I guess, have that capacity. So there you go, all those cards, and I can only show you 4, because the others are all going to be spoilerific in some way. But again, really, really happy with the box set. Everything looks fantastic. The cards are really great, high quality stuff. The maps are beautiful. I'm sure that the scenarios themselves will be great fun. Andrew knows what he's doing. So there you go. That is another chunk of great Free League stuff that's come to me just in the last few days. And yeah, I hope that was helpful to some of you who are thinking about whether or not to snatch up stuff, especially if you're in the UK like me and the prices are going to go up due to the new VAT rule change. But yeah, there you go. Things from the Flood and a bunch of Alien. Hope you enjoyed that. Let me know below your playing experiences if you had a chance to play these. If you got any hot tips for me as a GM, because I will be the GM for all this stuff, do let me know. If you have any more questions about the content and stuff, do ask me. I'll try and answer them if I can without being too spoilerific for any other readers. In the meantime, stay healthy and well as always. Take care of yourselves, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. All right, take care, and bye-bye.